I know that one of the reasons we want to be looking at adverts is because there are an awful lot of recruiters out there who are not very good at writing, probably find it quite nerve-wracking writing, feel that they're not good writers. Writing job adverts is not about being an amazing writer. It's not about being fancy pants or doing anything particularly interesting. It's certainly not about using clever language or anything like that. So we're going to go through where and when to post adverts, how we do it, what we should write, all of that sort of stuff. I have an advert that we're going to look at. Annoyingly, it's a very good advert, but that's good as well, so it's fine. So we will get cracking. So we are up against quite a lot more than we used to be. As we know, it's a candidate market. There's a real talent shortage. Whatever area you're recruiting in, whether you're recruiting here or abroad, there's all sorts going on. Obviously, we have Brexit to deal with. We've got all kinds of distractions, so many social media channels. We all sit in the lounge watching TV with the phone on, with a laptop on our knees, waiting for the kettle to boil. There are also job titles that we can't imagine, candidates being taken abroad. We all have all sorts of things going on, and also all of our wonderful passive candidates have jobs being thrown at them left, right and centre. So this is not necessarily about getting more applications and more applicants. It's about getting better applications. If we have to filter through less applications, it actually saves us time. So don't be worried if you write an advert and you get fewer applications, because it probably means they're better quality. Before I carry on, I'm just going to check that everyone can actually still hear. Good, fine. Robbie is deaf, so that's fine. Good. So hopping back in again. Oh, we've done all of that. Let's go through. So we're no longer just recruiters. We used to be recruiters. We're now marketing, both for our job adverts and for our businesses. It's all about bringing people into our websites, getting them to find out what we do. Obviously, we're advertising, but we're also sort of dealing in psychology. We've got to find out why our candidates behave the way they do, where they're hanging out, how they're thinking, what's going to make them click apply, what's going to make them upload their CV or ring us or pop into the office for a coffee. I'm not sure anyone actually ever does pop into the office for a coffee, but never mind. And of course, with sales, not only sales to our clients, but sales to our candidates. We need to give them a reason to pick our advert over something else. We also need to give them a reason to pick our job over a different job once they've actually got through to the end stage. So all of these added together make recruiters. Yeah, I think none of us are paid enough, frankly. I don't think anyone quite understands how challenging it can be. It's not a case of just putting up a job advert online and hoping and praying. So there's a lot that we need to do in order to get our candidates to apply, and to actually find them in the first place in order to get them to apply. So we're going to talk through fairly briefly where to post adverts and also when to post adverts, which is probably more important than anything else. You can write the most fantastic advert. If you post it in the middle of the night, no one's going to see it, because by the time they get onto the job boards, you'll have 20 other adverts above you. So it's really important that we actually do think about where we're going to post and when we're going to post them as well. So in terms of where we're posting, obviously use the standard job boards, great. Make sure they're actually working for you. If your advert doesn't get the response that you need, don't just post the same one again. Don't post it the next day. Lots of our job boards repost adverts. It might be after 5 days, 10 days, whatever it is. Please, 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 tomorrow morning, pick up the phone, call your job boards, speak to your client care person or whatever they want to call themselves, speak to them and ask them, how does this job board react? Which keywords should I use? Should I use admin? Should I use administration? Depends where you are, depends on the job board. It's really important that you know how your specific job boards operate, and you may need to tailor your adverts to every single board that you have. If you're using a multi-post engine like a Broadbean or Logic Melon or one of those, then okay, maybe you can't post all at the same time. Bad luck. Schedule a whole load of different adverts that are slightly different, that work specifically for each job board with the right number of keywords, the right keywords. We'll also talk in a minute about sort of the headlines and titles that we need to use. Make sure that you really do have the information that you need for these sites. what I found useful is saying to my account manager, well, you know, I'm not really getting the responses that I need for my adverts on Read, for example. So we're thinking about, you know, not renewing our membership. So I wonder if you've got any advice about how we use keywords, or could you analyze some of my adverts for me? They'll very soon pull their fingers out and actually get on with it. Obviously, as well as job boards, we've got to be looking at social media. Everyone is on social media now. Grandmas are on social media, baby boomers, millennials, Generation Z, they're everywhere. We've got to be savvy. Direct messaging, whether that's in mails, DMs on Twitter, up to you. Do we want to text a link to our candidate pool? It's not a bad idea. We'll talk about texting in a second. It's also good to ask for cheeky recommendations. By cheeky recommendations, I mean, cheeky recommendations, what I might do if I'm looking for a senior project manager, I might pretend I'm looking for a junior project manager and approach a senior project manager on LinkedIn. Do you know anyone who's really young in the industry who you'd like to give a boost to? I'm looking for someone young. The senior manager then turns around and says, oh, actually, do you know what? I'm sort of looking for a job. Oh, are you? Magic. Brilliant. Let's talk. If you haven't done so, or if you haven't done so recently, apply for your own adverts. Log out of the job boards. Apply as if you're a candidate. Is it a great experience? Is your job board and are your adverts on your own website a good experience? How many times do you have to input all of the information? Look at all of these things and think about them. We've got to catch people's attention, as we know. This was Twitter this morning. Not brilliant. No pictures on the left-hand side there. And on the right-hand side, let's just see if you can see this properly. Excuse the terribly rushed presentation. So the left-hand side, there are no photos, there are no pictures. I just did a hashtag job search. On the right-hand side here, they're looking for an excellent candidate. Good luck. That doesn't tell us anything. Fortunately, I was then pretty happy to see on Twitter, it just happened to pop up on my feed this morning, the next one from one of our own merry band of brothers. This is brilliant. We've got a picture. It says everything that we need, loads of hashtags that are going to bring the right people into here. The only thing that might have made it better is if it was a video, but he's got 16 shares and 7 hearts, likes, whatever we want to call them. That's really, really good. The difference between having a visual of some sort and just having plain a couple of lines of text. We know, we go through Facebook, we only click on the things that are glittery, sparkly, exciting. It's the magpie effect. We're all drawn to things that are bright and shiny and fun. So, and we're able to attract people, great, they're actually going to click on it. Again, there's no point in writing an amazingly worded advert if no one's going to read it, or if you don't get it in front of people, if you don't make sure that they actually look at it. Sending links to job adverts through WhatsApp, that comes up with a picture. Brilliant. And we'll talk in a second about how we can do that really easily. So when should we post? It's really important that we think about when we should post adverts. Is the best time going to be in the middle of the morning when everyone's at work, they're all doing their own thing? Are they going to be looking at the job boards? When works for each of your job boards? And when works for each of the social media sites? I found is actually I don't know if this is true or not, but I reckon we go out on a Saturday night, have a couple of lagers possibly, and on a Sunday morning you're pretty hungover, you're pretty fed up, you don't really want to go back into work on Monday, you hate your job, and you just happen to end up on the job boards. I've always had brilliant interaction and really good engagement on Sunday mornings. Now, I'm not saying we need to work every Sunday, but if you can draft your job adverts beforehand, get them ready to post, get them sorted. You can even post on most of the job boards now on your phone. So get them all set up, make sure they're ready to go, and then 11 o'clock-ish, 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock maybe on a Sunday morning, you'll get some really interesting interaction and some really good people. So try different timings, try different days. Typically, social media, it varies massively. Twitter's great in the evenings. LinkedIn is great just before work, so between about 7 in the morning and 9 in the morning, and then probably from about 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock. As I mentioned, text is really good. On text messages, and engagement from text message is amazing. I'll show you that in a second. But if you use something like Bitly, you can use shorten your link so you don't have a great long URL, as you can see down this Office Assistant down the right hand corner here. But you can put an extra couple of words. So you might put Python developer West London or something like that. You've just got a chance in that single line of information to show something and to say something. Also on Bitly, it shows you when people have actually clicked on it, where they are in the world, different countries. It shows you where the clicks come from, whether it's come from LinkedIn, from Twitter, all sorts. It's absolutely brilliant. There are loads of them. There's Bitly, I think there's Owly, I think Google probably does one. I use Bitly because that's what I use. So feel free to tell me there are better ones. So in terms of unconventional engagement and unconventional messaging, the stats on text messages are massive. So texts produce 6 to 8 times more response than email. Text messages are read on average within 5 seconds. It's linked right, the left. The telemarketer, really interesting facts and stats. This is only 3 of them. If you're not already sending out messages, you're not sending your adverts out via text, I really suggest you try it. If you don't have a way of doing that from the computer, from the sort of office system, and you don't have a company mobile, I would really strongly suggest getting a company mobile if you possibly can, or trying it from yours. Most of us have unlimited text now. Okay, it might be a personal phone, but if you're desperate and you need to get some candidates in and you happen to find someone's number because you're using one of the really cool tools that are on the chat channel, there's particularly one called Lusha, Lusha, Lusha. It's a plugin. It sits on Chrome, and when you're on someone's profile on Twitter, LinkedIn, any social media site, if their mobile number is anywhere online, it'll find it for you. It's amazing. You can then text them with, "Hi, sorry to reach out unannounced. Fascinating job, think you'd be suitable. Here's the Bitly link." And you can see whether they've actually clicked it or not. So going on to the most important part, writing the advert. We've posted at the right time, great. If it's not interesting enough to click on, no one's going to click on it. If it just says admin assistant, finance director, great, fine. Some of the job boards will only let you do this. They'll only let you put the specific job title. I know CV Library in particular are really bad for this, and they'll delete your adverts if you don't use the right format, and it's really annoying. Just keep having a go at them. Eventually they'll change it. But it's really important. If we have a job title that is it says wonderful person needed, it's not going to help us. We've got to have our keywords in there. If we can also have enticing words, it's really going to help. Something that makes us interested: project manager, rip up the rules. Python developer / best job on Reed. This is real. I saw this morning. I can't believe it. I just typed into Google best job on Reed, most interesting job on Reed, something like that, and that came up. That was the job title. Use it, try it, see if it works, see if it makes any difference. Most of us search for everything on Google these days. If you Google best Python developer job in London, well, quite a lot of the words are in that sentence there. So it's worth a try. Try different things, see if you can do something interesting. Ambitious office junior, ambitious administration assistant, great. They're all really low-level roles, but it gets the right sort of person interested and intrigued. Of course, you're still going to get people who click on every single advert. I'm not saying that we can rule those out. Some of them are great, but we want to try and whittle it down. We want to intrigue the people that we really are interested in and who are actually going to benefit us. We also get a summary. So on the main listing view of our job boards, I've only got a few here. So I've got CV Library. You can see that you get quite a big chunk here in your summary. Read, you only get about 40 to 50 words. Techno Jobs is another one I've just used as an example. Really not very interesting, but you can see the top one there. They've barely got anything. Now, whether that's that they've done something wrong, I'm not sure. But you want to make sure that your summary, particularly the first paragraph that you write on each of your adverts, is really interesting and says the things you need to. So taking Read as an example, Read will generally take the first paragraph that you've got on your advert. If your first paragraph says, job summary, this, job title, this, salary, this, well, you've already got those in the listing, as you can see there. Oh, we've just touched the screen. Exciting. So you can see we've got the salary and all of that in the listing anyway. You want to make sure that your summary, the words in your summary, are interesting. Make sure you've got that keyword in there, because if you don't have your keyword in the first paragraph, it'll pick up the first paragraph that does have the keyword. Again, speak to your job boards. How does it work? How do they pick? What's going to be seen by your job applicants? How do people search on that particular job board? Do they search by specific job roles, or do they just free type something to do with Python, for example? On the CV library advert, this doesn't make me particularly happy. This is one on the left. Description, it says Python developer, then Python, Django, Flask, etc. All the keywords smashed into there. That's not interesting. Put that down at the bottom of the advert. If you have to have that, if you have to have your keywords, put it down at the bottom. I can tell you for a fact those keywords wouldn't have worked anyway, because the slashes are joining the words together. So massive fail. I hope they found someone though, although it does say be first to apply, and that was posted a few days ago and I found that this morning, so you know. Okay, so that's the summary. We need to make sure that it's looking interesting. As I said, include the keywords again. For brains love pairs of words. Ping pong, single ready to mingle, have a break with a Kit Kat. It's a really good idea to ask 2 questions, then give a call to action. So tell them what you want to do. 2 examples here. One is mine, and one belongs to lovely Gareth. So Gareth, that we'll look at, this is the bottom one, are you a big data architect looking to take the next step in your career? Do you feel like you're undervalued in an organization that doesn't understand big data? Would you like to work directly with the CTO of a global organization to help define the next generation technology, vision, and strategy for big data? If you answered yes to the above questions, read on. Okay, Gareth has got 3 questions. Frankly, that 3rd question is interesting enough that I'm interested. I have no idea about big data, but I'm interested. I want to get involved with this. I want to read the rest of the advert. It's interesting. If instead of that you put, I'm delighted to announce that my client is recruiting for, it's not interesting. It doesn't engage us. It doesn't make us want to read the rest of the advert. The same with the one, the second one up. Amazing at admin, but love being hands-on and practical too. Think you can handle the challenge of being promoted to office manager on 22,000 in just 1 year? Okay, I know this is not a high-level job. It's very low, but I want to get them excited. It's all about challenging them. And then I've hit them with the call to action. This is the perfect job for you. So our call to action could be apply now. Don't miss this. This is the chance of a lifetime. Miss it, miss out. Anything like this that makes us go, oh, what's that? Oh, hang on. Let me keep reading what's going on. If you have that, as you can see, Gareth has got big data architect. He's got his keyword right in there at the top. I've got admin, that was a word for me, and office manager was another word. It was the 2 buzzwords that worked. This was posted on Indeed, actually, and they don't really do anything right. Those are the 2 keywords that I needed, so that worked really well for me. So, moving on to the most important and most interesting part, which is the main body of the advert, the main advert text that we're going to use. A lot of people feel they're not good at writing, not good with words. It's not my thing. It takes a lot of time. We sort of push it to last minute. We hastily write something, or we copy and paste a whole load of stuff from different adverts that we've had before, or we look online, copy someone else's adverts. Maybe I should think some of us are guilty of that. I know that I used to do that. Please don't do it. Every single job that you have is completely unique. Even if you're recruiting for 2 developers within the same company, it's unlikely they're working slap bang next door to each other, reporting into the same manager, unless there's massive growth on the team. So there will be differences. There will be different things that the manager wants to see. There will be different things that they'll be sitting in different places in the office. There'll be different targets, all sorts of different things. So there's loads that we can do to sort of personalize each advert. Very quickly, a couple of technical bits. Make sure you speak to your job boards, as I said. Find out how many times your keywords need to appear. There are some where it needs to appear 5 times or more. There are some where it cannot appear more than 8 times. Make sure that the way that your advert looks, if you're looking at it from a distance, is it interesting? If you just put a whole load of text all in one go, it doesn't look great. If you put 50 bullet points, it doesn't look great. Mix it up a bit, put in some interest, bullet points, split up your list of information. It's okay to start a sentence with and. Don't worry, it's fine, I promise. If you want to put, this is not just the most amazing job in the world, full stop. It's going to be the start of something, or whatever you're going to put. Break it up, split it up, make it interesting and easy to read. Generally, most people are looking at adverts and searching for jobs on mobiles now. If you have 2 full-length sentences, so pretty meaty, beefy sentences at a time, that's about enough, because that nearly fills a mobile screen, unless you've got one of these fancy iPhone 12s or whatever they are now, which are huge. So after 2 long sentences, just put in a line break, put in an extra paragraph. It means that we can actually read it. It means that it's easy to digest, and we can sort of flip through really quickly. If you can, please use photos, please use videos. I hate Gumtree, but they do let you put in videos and photos. A lot of the job boards won't. Just keep telling them they're behind the times, and they really need to. If you're able to do it on your own website, then please, please do it. Again, going back to the Twitter feed from earlier, when there are pictures, when there are photos, when there are moving, glittery, sparkly, shining things, we're much more likely to actually click on them and do something. They engage us, they make us do something, and they interest us. So as I said, it is not about being clever. It's not about coming up with interesting, fascinating business words. It's about the reader, not about you. Do not use these. Are you looking to move? I'm currently recruiting for. I'm looking to recruit. I'm seeking. My client is, or I'm delighted to announce that my prestigious client has awarded me the privilege of recruiting for their esteemed company, and it's just so wonderful and delighting, and oh, well done me, aren't I clever? I've got an exclusive deal to recruit for Joe Blogs. No one cares. I'm really sorry, no one cares. It's not about you. It's about the person reading. And if they're not interested and they're not engaged, they're going to disengage. They'll switch off. They'll move on to the next advert. They want to know what's in it for them. So turning our entire sort of thought process on its head works much, much better. It feels a little bit uncomfortable. We sort of feel like we should write the adverts in a way that we've seen before. We feel like we should put these clever words like, you must prove your eligibility to work in the UK. Who uses the word eligibility in everyday speak? I'm sure some people do, but why not put, make sure you've got your passport, you must have it to apply for this job. Is it any different? No, it's just much more human. It's much more, it's a normal way of speaking. We don't read posts on Facebook that are written in the same way that we write our job adverts, because it would look ridiculous. But we're still dealing in an online media. So we need to make sure that we are tailoring our language in a way that is engaging and is really easy to digest and easy to read. So please stop it. Stop using those phrases. Anyone who's on the Discord channel who I see using those phrases, I will come around and beat you over the head with your own laptop. Just cut them out completely. Don't use the word my client unless, no, don't use the word my client. You can use the word client if it's someone who's going to be dealing with clients. You'll be client liaison, you'll be account manager, something like that. You don't need to mention your client. In fact, you don't need to mention your anything. We're going to be mentioning what's going on with the candidate or the reader, the person who's reading the advert. We want to be talking about, you will do X, Y, and Z. You'll work in a company where blah. It doesn't matter that it's not our company, it's our client's company. That doesn't matter. In that moment, they're reading and they're visualizing, what's this going to be like? Does this something that I even want to sort of engage more with? Is it something that's interesting? So how do we do it? Be human, be normal. Imagine one person. They wear, where are they sitting at the moment? How do they act? What's going on in their head? Are they bored of their job? Are they tired? Are they frustrated? Have they just stopped learning? Have they given up? Are they just going through the motions? And flatter them. You know your skills are wasted. You know you're better than this. You know you deserve more. You know that you shouldn't be working 90-hour weeks. You know that in order to be a recruiter, it takes more than just recruitment. It's marketing, it's sales. To a recruiter, it resonates. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to find something, we're trying to provoke a reaction and find something that resonates. If the reaction is, what on earth are they talking about? This is a ridiculous advert. Great. One less application for us to read. They're obviously not right for our job. Now, naturally, we need to mold this and shape it depending on every role that we have. We're not going to write an advert for a 19-year-old entry-level job or a graduate job in the same tone of voice as we would for a 100K role. Fine. But does it mean that we have to be formal and stuffy for the 100K role? We need to be really challenging them and saying, are you good enough? Do you really think you're up to this? I think you're up to this because I know that you can do X, Y, and Z. Be informal. Please be informal. Why not abbreviate words? Why not say you won't, you shouldn't, you can't, you haven't, you didn't, you'll be, you'll do. Use you, your, speak directly to them. And it is about speaking. It's about, I mean, you might find it easier, get a dictaphone, speak into the dictaphone everything you want to say about this job as if you would say it to them on the phone, as if you would speak to them face to face. If you're sitting in front of a candidate face to face talking about this job, do you say to them, oh, good morning, Bob, come in and sit down. I'm delighted to let you know that my esteemed client has given me the privilege of allowing me to recruit for this role exclusively. In order to complete this role, you need X, Y, and Z. You're not going to do that. You have a much more informal conversation. And actually, you engage far more with them. You look them in the eye. You react to them. So as you're writing your advert, think about what they're going to say. I mean, even putting things like, I know, sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Question mark. Why not? Ask them questions. Imagine they're responding and then respond again. So other things that we can do, as I said, we want to speak to them. So read your advert out loud. Just do it. You'll feel like an idiot, but just do it. Read it out loud and then give it to someone else. Can they hear your voice? Can they hear the way that you do things, your little quirks, your twists of speech? Give it to someone, give it to a candidate who you've interviewed recently. Does it sound like the way they remember you when you were speaking to them on the phone, when you were doing their phone interview, or when you were seeing them face to face? And if not, why not? Change it. Write the way you would write in your diary if you were a 13-year-old girl, or whatever it is. Now, I'm not saying put all of your most filthy swear words in, of course not. We want to be professional, whatever that means. And we can tone it down, but there's no harm in putting things like, yeah, you're going to be flipping busy. Why not? Does that matter? It's interesting, and it gives me much more information about the job than your workflow will be X, Y, and Z, your KPIs will be this, that, and the other. I don't care. I want to know, is this fast pace? Is it a silent office? Is it really loud and noisy and everything's mayhem and going at 90 miles an hour and yay, hurrah, mayhem? I want to know when I'm reading a job advert or when I'm reading anything, I want to be able to build a picture in my head and sort of be able to visualize it and know what to expect. So read it out loud. It feels stupid. And actually, you'll get used to doing it, so you don't have to read it out loud, standing in the middle of the office, take it into the loo or whatever, read it at home. And you'll soon be able to do it in your head. But speak through it. Imagine you are using this advert, you're using your job advert as a presentation. So you're presenting, let's say you're presenting to a bunch of students who are about to graduate, and you're reading this job advert, and you want them to apply for this job. different sort of language to some of the dry and dull adverts that we see all the time. And if you're not doing it, your competitors are going to start doing it. So you may as well beat them now. So get used to it. That's out and just start writing freestyle. Now, someone I've learned a lot from is Lou Adler. I don't know if anyone's signed up to the LinkedIn Learning. I think it's included with the Recruiter Lite subscription rather. I don't have Recruiter Lite. It doesn't work as far as I'm concerned. But it's called performance-based hiring. It is brilliant. Please go on. Please do it. If you don't have it already, you get a month free trial. After that, I think it's £19 a month. It's phenomenal. You have world leaders speaking to you directly through your screen. It's fantastic. So he has something, a really interesting concept that's called performance-based hiring. And it's not about, as I've put, you must have 50 billion years experience in this, that, and the other, and you must have this, that, you must have a shopping list of qualifications, a financial job advert that they need to have a bachelor's degree or, 12 GCSEs. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous putting things like that. They need to be able to prove that they can do this job. And how do they know if they can do this job, and how can they prove they can do the job if we don't tell them how they could succeed at the job? So phrase verbs with doing words. I'm not very good with action verbs, all of that sort of stuff, despite being a writer. But what will they do? So in order to succeed in the role, you will grow sales by X amount. You'll become the go-to recruiter for fire jugglers. If anyone knows a fire juggler recruiter, I want to meet them, so let me know. These words: revolutionize, revitalize, challenge, teach, develop, embrace. Any of these, they're much, much more interesting. If you said to me now, okay, you need to do a webinar about adverts, so I need you to have a degree in English literature, at least bachelor level. You need to have 7 marketing qualifications. You also need to have done your sourcing ninja course with social sourcing or whatever they're called. Well, I don't have any of that, sorry. Does that mean that I shouldn't apply? Or actually, could I talk to people because I have something to say? It's completely different. The action verbs and saying, to succeed, you will. You might be sitting there saying, well, I don't know this. How do I know what they need to succeed? Well, just add one more question to the questioning that you give clients when they give you a job brief. What will this person need to do to succeed in year 1? Tell me 3 things they're going to need to do to succeed. Easy. Really question your hiring managers. Make sure they know. Make sure you're speaking to the hiring managers as well, but you're also speaking to the line managers, because we know it's sometimes different. But if you don't know what they need to succeed, it's going to be really, really difficult. If all you're given is a list of qualifications that they need, great. Can you just fill me in a little bit more about, X, Y, and Z qualification? Why do they need that? What are they going to need to do to succeed in this? Really, really important, and it's much, much more inspiring. Revolutionize our struggling department. Yeah, great. I want to do that. That's fascinating. Or no, thanks. That's not really for me. I can't be dealing with that. I want to go into something that's, fantastic. Again, we're whittling out the people who we don't want to apply. We also, it's important. We need to paint a picture, as I said. We need to be able to imagine things. So a development team connecting anxious first-time mums with immediate advice, or your knowledge will help us become a grown-up business. You'll help us become adverts. We need your help. Or you'll build it's tangible and interesting. Again, we want to provoke a reaction. We want people to feel inspired to apply, or curious, or disgusted and horrified, in which case they won't apply. That's fine. We don't mind that. Or we want to make them think, if we write something that's challenging, if we write, I don't think you're up to the job, think you're good enough, well, I guess, you could apply. That makes me think, yeah, I'm good enough. I'm going to apply for this. Of course I'm going to apply. We want to provoke a reaction, as I said, and sort of prod them and poke them and be a little bit disruptive, create some sort of action. So provoking a reaction. Be honest though, it's not all roses and sunshine and puppies. If it needs hard work, say that. If it's 90 miles an hour, if it needs grit, don't be timid with this stuff. Tell them what it's all about. Go all in, as I said. You will get comments from people saying, I've never read an advert like this before. This is a bit weird. I've never seen this. I promise you, you'll get this. I get this the whole time. I get people saying, yeah, I read this advert and I applied and then I sent it to my mum and it was so interesting and I've never seen anything like this before. Good. That's what we want. If your boss doesn't agree with this, if there's some fundamental reason why you can't do this, send them to me and I'll talk to them. There needs to be, we have to try and engage with people better. We know that we've got a skills shortage. We know that we have a real challenge coming up over the next few years, particularly with Brexit in this country. We know that we've got people going abroad. We know that a lot of the talent that has previously come in from abroad, possibly deciding not to now because of the uncertainty. There's some really talented workers who are going back home. So we need to do things differently. If we keep doing what we've always done, then actually we're going backwards because the world is moving forwards. So we need to change things up. We need to do things differently. We've got to try social media, try the different platforms. You might decide that Snapchat is not necessarily the right place to find your financial director. Fine. I mean, you might find someone, who knows? That'd be interesting. But you might decide that for graduates, that is the place you want to go. You might decide that Twitter actually, as a complete, it's a gold mine of graphic designers. Who knows? We found it really successful recruiting chefs on Instagram because chefs all have massive egos and we're posting loads of pictures of their food. Oh, great food, chef. Have you got a job at the moment? It's just about thinking through things a little bit differently. As I said, if they hate your advert, great, they're not going to apply. Gives us one less CV to flick through. Forcing a bespoke cover letter, and I promise I'm really nearly finished. Bespoke cover letters, really important. We know that on a lot of the job boards, it's easy to upload your CV and then have a cover letter that's just standardized for everyone. Dull, boring, doesn't tell us anything. If you put in your advert something like, well, my latest one was, please write in the first line of your cover letter, I'm a multitasking octopus. The ones that did got a call from me. The ones that didn't, I didn't bother with. It means they have to write something. Or for example, when I was recruiting recruiters for my internal team, I asked them to write an advert for their current job in the same sort of slightly quirky, slightly unconventional, slightly odd way that I'd written mine, really chatty, really engaging. And I tell you what, it made my job an awful lot nicer because they were hilarious. Some of them were brilliant. So make people write a bespoke cover letter and put in your advert. If this job board doesn't let you, or if you can't send a bespoke advert, bespoke cover letter, email me directly or find me on LinkedIn and send it to me directly. And if they do, you know those are the ones who are really interested in the job. So rattling through very quickly, we'll just very quickly look at the example advert. If anyone has, let's go through. If anyone wants to have a look, the link here, wonderful Gareth Jones sent this in. Frankly, it's brilliant already. If you want to bring it up, there's the link. If you want to look at it afterwards, of course, this is going to be on YouTube afterwards. The link's there. In it, he's got questions. He's got those questions that we saw earlier. It's challenging. It's personal. It's written directly to the reader. It says you'll be seen as the big data expert. The only things I might change is that it doesn't say anything particularly about the sort of evolution of the role. What's going to happen? What's the career growth and the career path? A particular position. It says that they're going to be working alongside the CTO. Amazing. The call to action is possibly a little bit submissive. The call to action is, if this sounds like something you'd like to be considered for, I want to hear from you. If. No, don't miss this role. Apply now. Don't miss out. Once in a lifetime opportunity. And actually further up in the advert he's put, this isn't an easy role. In fact, it's probably one of the most challenging you'll see. Put that again down at the bottom. It's one of the most challenging roles you'll ever see. Think you're up for the challenge? Apply now. Don't beat around the bush. Tell them exactly what you want to do. Be direct and ask for a response. It is more than just a job now. As we know, there are different motivators and different drivers in the job seekers and in the market today. All of us have different wishes and desires from our parents, and our parents have different wishes and desires from their parents. It's the way the world works. If you haven't yet seen it, please do hop onto LinkedIn. Please connect with me on LinkedIn anyway. If you've got questions, I'll go back into the Discord channel in a second and look and see if anyone's got any questions there. But please connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to send me your adverts, great. I'm not going to write them for you, unless you want to pay me, in which case, cool. But of course, I'm really happy to sort of give critique. I'll be brutal, I warn you, but if I can help you find more candidates, then I would love to. Please do jump on, have a look at this link. This is about the sort of things that millennials, but also all of us, are more interested in our jobs now. It's not just about the salary, it's about feeling valued, it's about getting something out of your job and being recognised for the hard work that you do. So thank you, everyone. That is it for now. As I said, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's chat, let's talk. I want to help. I will possibly be doing another one of these in the future if I don't get kicked out, which is a little bit more tailored towards how to write content to bring people to your website or to drive people to your social media channels and engage them. But for now, I'm just going to very quickly jump back into the channel and see if there are any particular questions that anyone has.